And from Johnny Depp, what's the best career option for Buchanan, as he's currently playing for the most deep squad in Europe with Inter, and it doesn't look like he's going to be starting anytime soon either, both fullbacks signing long-term extensions. Should he get a move, especially with the World Cup next year?
No, he should not get a move now in January or in the summer. I think he can start in August at Inter and fight for his place, because I genuinely think it's going to be a different situation. Denzel Dumfries is not going to stay there. I don't think that they're going to buy someone of Tajon's ilk to challenge him or compete for that place. I think that it has been a difficult physical journey for him, obviously, but I really think that what he's gone through with the leg break this summer to get back into the team, yes, they're competitive and they're deep, but I think mentally he's jumped leaps from when he arrived. And I think the mental game is not at the level that they felt it needed to be before, which is kind of part of the reason he wasn't getting cracks last year. And this is just generalizing and speculating, but from some of the comments that Inzaghi's made and the way they've kind of operated, I just think that Dumfries has been such that piece. They really bought Buchanan to replace him, and he's still been there. And I know that they've kind of tinkered with the lineup a little bit, and they've tried to fit him into the squad in a couple other places. They've shared the pitch at the same time in that. It's not entirely like for like. But I'm one of those guys that's like, he's still marinating into this player that has immense potential. And it hasn't been that long since he was pulling on a Revolution shirt. So I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit. Everyone's excited. A move for him might not be the best thing. And when you're in those A-list elite winning environments, there's a lot of value to take from just being there as you are developing as a player and a person. And I think it would be too quick for him to jump, particularly because that's what's going to happen with Kone. So I don't want to see that happen with every one of these young players. Kone's going to go on loan, and Kone probably needs to. And come 26, I don't think Kone's playing for Marseille. So I don't want that to happen with every type of player that runs into challenges, every Canadian player. And I think that Tajon can bet on himself, and the trajectory for me shows he can keep a place there, and he will get more minutes as time goes on.
I would like to see that, but it just doesn't seem like that's necessarily going to happen with the way things have gone so far. And if he continues to, be subbed on in the 77th minute every week, and he's only playing just a handful of minutes, every match, that is not where he needs to be for himself as a player or the Canadian men's national team. So if he can go somewhere, even on loan, short-term loan even, go 6 months, go get a ton of minutes and just get into game rhythm, then that's going to benefit the national team and benefit himself as well. And maybe he can kind of use that as a slingshot into getting more minutes with Milan as well, because, he's just not getting the opportunities there with Dumfries still in the picture.
Well, with Inter, I'd agree with Brendan, first off. That's what I'd say. I think you also have to remember the exceptional circumstances, and this is why you go to a club like Inter. Like, his competition is Federico Di Marco, one of the best fullbacks, wingbacks in the world, incredible player, such a joy to watch, and Denzel Dumfries, who's been, one of the best at his position for a while now. And the reality is, and it's unfortunate for Dumfries, his dream move to the Premier League has kind of been like, remember when Toni Kroos was linked to Man U for every year? Remember when Wesley Sneijder was supposed to be a Man U player for like 6 years in a row? And it's just become kind of one of those, for whatever reason, it hasn't materialized. It's almost like Jonathan David's big move, right? It hasn't worked out for whatever reason. And the reality is that's left Buchanan stuck behind them. Today, we're pretty much celebrating, the 1 year anniversary of Buchanan arriving at Inter.
Yeah, it's only been a year.
He arrived halfway through the year. Then in the summer, he breaks his, he fractures his leg, misses out a chance to get in, and he has Dumfries and DeMarco ahead of him. This is the part of being at a big club. His moment is really yet to come, where he's been like given the keys and be like, go out, prove you're an Inter player. We don't know if he's even an Inter player yet. And I think the reality is, if a Dumfries leaves, there's a chance he could be, because his competition, when you look at a Darmian, a Carlos Augusto, they're all very different profiles. And it's a reality where what Buchanan brings and the way, Inter love to play, very front foot, very swashbuckling, I think Buchanan will fit into that. And I think that's why Inzaghi's given him maybe a lot more chances than he could have. Like, the fact that Buchanan, when you look at that Inter bench and how deep it is, and that Inzaghi still gives him these 20, 25-minute cameos, is a compliment to Buchanan. What I would say is, I agree with Brendan with that timeline. Stick it out the rest of this year. See if you can get some starts, get some more minutes. Next year, get the summer preseason you were supposed to have this year that was taken away from you with an injury. And if you don't win a spot next year, if Dumfries is still around, at this point he's probably going to be an Inter lifer. Then you hit January 2026. Then you can start thinking about 6-month loan. And the luxury that he has, and that was the last point to yours, Ben, with Canada, he's in a lucky point where he's not needed as much. Like there's Ali Ahmed, there's Schaffelberg, there's Seeger, these guys coming into these positions where Buchanan doesn't have to worry. Like he wants to be starting, of course, no doubt. I think that's a goal of his, but it's not something from a Canadian perspective where I need Buchanan playing every week right now because there's other guys to step up. And I think that will help Buchanan because he can just focus on his club career and getting that sorted so he can then get back to the level he was at with Canada in 21, 22.
It's a great point and a huge part of like the mental game I think that we talk about, particularly with these guys who get these early jumps and things don't work out right away and you can very quickly kind of spiral, especially when you have something horrible happen like the leg break. We should start a series which is like 26 predictions because we've had a few of these already. Obviously this is an early show, but I think all through 25 we're going to have quite a few of these. One of my predictions is Tajon Buchanan will do a sit down before 26 with Matthew Shinetti, ahead of the lead up for this feature story. And he will talk about how the leg break is the best thing that could have happened to his career because of how he bounced back from it and how it put him, on this trajectory to, have such a strong mental and physical game to become the physical player that we all, the potential that we all see, reach that potential that we all see. So, yeah, I think that'll happen before 26.